For this video, I'd like to begin with a quote. Generally speaking, students may be diagnosed with learning disabilities if they are of average or above average intelligence, and there's a significant discrepancy between their academic achievement and their intellectual ability. The diagnosis of a learning disability is often made by a psychologist trained in administering and interpreting psychoeducational assessments. For years, we've seen studies that attach higher intelligence to poor grades in traditional school systems. It's been proven that students can have a full, healthy comprehension of the topics and still fail because they don't test well. Exams are not the best way to show understanding for students. In fact, a common accommodation is for students to be allowed to write an essay in place of an exam. This allows them an entire week to collect their thoughts away from the stress of other classmates. For many, this alternative has saved grades and proven to be far more useful in determining comprehension than a standard exam. It is entirely possible for students to develop mental disorders when placed into an academic structure that doesn't work for their brain. In situations of extreme stress, the body has a physical reaction, intense, increased adrenaline. The body goes into a state of fight or flight, but in the exam room, freeze is the only option. So the student is now forced to deal with a heavily increased amount of adrenaline, and they're expected to have the same level of focus as everyone else in the room. This often causes failure in exam grades, causing further stress on the next test, creating an endless spiral of despair and anxiety. In a short time span, this may not be a damaging event, but when repeated over multiple years, the person is likely to develop an anxiety disorder. Every aspect of their life will begin to feel like a life or death situation, forever clouding their mental process. How simple and easy it is to fall into the trap of disability. Now consider how much worse this is when the student goes home to disappointed parents. You're supposed to have a safe place at home where they can be calm and relaxed and refocus. Instead, they find a war in the exam room and in their home. They find that not only their professors, but their family are against them too. They become isolated in their own mind, trapped by the idea that they aren't mentally strong enough to be of any value. When in reality, they're often the most intelligent person in the room. When it seems as though all they do is fail, life becomes a drag, with darker, self-sabotaging thoughts creeping in. Even without a designated moment in time, depression can sink in under the skin and cause permanent damage to their psyche. It's one of the more dangerous diseases, especially against the younger generation. Traditionalists argue that if mental disorders were really so horrible, they would have been widely known when they were back in school. However, it's simply an issue of developing information. Back then, students were believed to be idiotic or lazy. Still, today, we see the same themes of skepticism. Yes, it's true. There are those who choose to be lazy, who would take advantage of the accommodation system in a heartbeat. However, it should not be so heavily monitored and disbelieved that those who truly need help can't get it. One wouldn't take an old man's cane on the off chance he didn't need it to walk. The number of people being diagnosed with these mental disabilities is rising rapidly because we have a deeper understanding of it now than ever before. Just as our understanding of the food pyramid changed, it should be noted that science is constantly changing and being disproven. We can't just shrug off the idea of mental disability under the guise of people being lazy. It's my belief and the belief of many others that every middle and high school, as well as college, should have a team dedicated to planning accommodations for students so they never have to fight for the same rights that I had to. Far too many of these places don't have a team at all, and those that do too often fall short. If the goal is to teach every student as well as possible, then this becomes a critical point of infrastructure. Someone should always be there to work with students to make sure they have a well-suited environment for them to learn. It's important to allow everyone the same opportunities to succeed. No kid should be told that they're less than because they don't fit the mandatory box that the system assigns to them. Think of it. Had the greatest leaders of our society fallen into the trap of self-doubt, we would likely now have our country led by a ton of ignorant buffoons. The only path forward that can create equity for all these students is to have a team in every building specifically designed to help them navigate the waters of education until they learn to swim on their own. In the end, for me, it did work out, but no kid should be yelled at by his advisors and professors for wanting a chance to prove himself. A kid should never have to feel like he's worthless because the adults entrusted with his education are incapable of understanding the greater problems plaguing his mind. A kid should never have to formulate a strong argument to fight with the school board so that he can have a chance at succeeding in a faulty system. The education system is broken, and those in charge rarely seem to understand the toll that mental and physical disabilities take on students. Not everyone fits the same methods of learning, and oftentimes they need help just to have some semblance of equity between their classmates. Now, in these series of videos, we've talked a lot about mental health, anxiety, and the broken school system. Now, moving forward, if we want any sort of change, there has to be a unified movement, a unified vision together. Already, I've gone ahead and set up social media. These videos are being posted on YouTube, on social media, and everywhere I can get them. My hope is that through sharing my issues, my story, that it inspires those of you that see these videos to share your own. My hope is that we all can come together and share our stories so that we can be unified. Because one person can't affect any change in a system that doesn't want to change. It doesn't recognize it needs changing. It is only by gathering together and amassing a number of people that understand the issue that we will have any hope of repairing this system. It's only together that we can make these school systems better for the kids in the future, so that they never have to go through what we've gone through. Already I've begun sending out letters, posting videos, posting different artworks, all in the same theme of this. My hope is that it reaches enough people that we can gather together and effect real, lasting change. It becomes clearer to me every day that this is something we have to do, that there is no other option. This is the education of our future children we're talking about. For many of us, it's too late to have any benefit to ourselves from this movement. However, it's still crucial that we force the establishment to notice the pain that they cause. Already, it's caused too much lasting trauma for countless individuals. Why would we give them a chance to do the same thing to our children? Right now, we're small in number, but I do hope that over time, our following in our group grows. I do encourage sharing your stories. Either message me on social media or leave your story in the comments for everyone to see. I greatly encourage any way of reaching out. I will be happy to respond to anything you say. I would be happy to talk it out with you and finally get a grasp on more people's stories. And perhaps by sharing our experiences, we can finally move past them. We can finally use them to better the lives of others. For now, this is the end of the video series. I really do hope you enjoyed my story, my sharing of my experiences. I look forward to hearing from each of you. I'd love to be a sounding board for any ideas you have, because it's only together that we will effect real change. So, until next time, this is Cole signing off.